I want to know who let you know that Dr. Nandipha had been assaulted. So she called you. Like, what does she use to call you? Because naturally, they aren't allowed cell phones inside. So
Yes.
she calls you and she says what?
Singabako Ngumalo from Correctional Services say they've not received any word from you.
Anele and the club
on 947.
Heard about this yesterday. News breaking across the country that Dr. Nandipha, who's currently being detained at Kroonstad Correctional Center in the Free State, she was allegedly assaulted by 2 inmates, right? And I just have like a few questions around this, and I've even pulled Thembekile in on this because if anybody knows what's happening in the news, it's Thembekile Mrototo.
Nandipha Magudumana, aka Dr. Nandi.
Nandipha Magudumana isn't giving up on her fight for freedom.
To many, Dr. Nandipha Magudumana seems to have had it all: a successful career, husband, and even 2 daughters.
It's alleged that Dr. Nandipha Magudumana has been assaulted in her prison cell in the Kroonstad Correctional Center.
The question being asked is why a seasoned celebrity doctor would fall for the charms of a dangerous convict.
The things that she chooses to do for this guy will leave you going, yo.
So yeah, let's chat to the man, Advocate Machini Motloung. He is Dr. Nandipha Magudumana's lawyer, head of her legal team. Good morning, Advocate. Welcome to Anele and the club.
Good morning, and your crew, and thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for taking our call. I understand you're a very busy man. You were quite topical yesterday. Everybody wanted to talk to you about this. I want to know who let you know that Dr. Nandipha had been assaulted at the correctional service.
Look, Anele, I'm attending a National Human Rights Day. Ironically, when a client called me during a break to alert me of an abuse that happened to her, that she was assaulted, and she was quite hysterical, quite very upset, and said that this incident happened. And I must indicate there that, at that moment, I had to reflect, because this is a human being who's got a right to human dignity, and I'm in a human rights conference, and this news is broken by client to me. It was quite something.
So she called you. Like, what does she use to call you? Because naturally they aren't allowed cell phones inside, the correctional center. So how does she call you?
Look, Anele, as tried practice, she's been calling me from landline. I must indicate that since January, the phones there in that facility went dead. So she was not even having access to contact me, because she would contact me regularly to formulate a strategy into how to handle a case and go moving forward. So she's been quite having a tough time in accessing telephone lines because they were not working. But recently they've come up with some makeshift arrangement for her to be able to phone. So there's a certain arrangement that they give inmates, and they give them about 5 minutes.
Okay. So then she calls you. Naturally, if she's the one telling you that she was allegedly assaulted, at least you're the one making the call, because if she can't call you, it means that they've beaten her up so much that she can't even speak, right? So she can speak.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes,
So she calls you and she says what?
She says to me, Mr. Mdoda, I've been assaulted, and I've been assaulted by the very same person that I've been complaining to prison authorities about. The Sangoma in my cell and the other member or inmate who's mentally challenged, assaulted me. And what makes me upset is that I laid a complaint a day earlier on Saturday, and I, specifically informed them of my concerns about my safety in the facility, which was threatened by the very same people who now assaulted me. So she confirmed that she was indeed assaulted. She was in pain. Her body was in pain. She had bruises. And I, I'm in Johannesburg. I told her that I would arrange with my team to come visit her and, make their own observations and assist her in laying charges if she hadn't laid charges. Because at that moment, she was waiting for members of South African Police Services to lay criminal charges.
And Machini, has that actually happened, the laying of the charges? And you said there was a complaint the day before the assault. Singabako Ngumalo from Correctional Services say they've not received any word from you or Dr. Magudumana, about her fearing for her safety or any subsequent complaint?
Look, proof of the pudding is in the eating. Fortunately, we have records. And I'm going to be applying in terms of PAIA. I'm going to be applying for access to her file in prison because the file is there. I've actually invited Mr. Ngumalo. I'm with him in that National Human Rights Commission, Human Rights Conference. I alerted him to the fact that there is a record in their facility which he should access it. So at the moment, neither him or any official for that matter cannot refute claims that she has been making calls, desperate calls for that matter, to be assisted, and this were reduced into writing. So everything that we're saying, there is record in her file.
And who did she make the complaint to? Because if correctional services at national level say they don't have a record, who did she speak to at the correctional center?
Various officials, including the prison head, and you see, the problem will come when these records are accessed and found to be accurate, and people will be embarrassed. Because as a matter of fact, I've seen those letters myself. I've read those letters. I've also assisted in crafting some of those letters, so as to lay complaint formally. And she has had interviews with members of correctional services with regards to her safety concerns. By the way, this is the very same department against whom she laid complaint or charges, criminal charges, for assault. They assaulted her a while back when she was forcefully taken to court despite feeling ill, despite having a medical condition that ordinarily prevented her from going to court.
Okay, do you find that, because now, obviously she's topical, right? Do you find that it is more difficult for her to be to exist as a normal prisoner inside of the correctional service because she's topical? Because it can look like you guys are looking for special treatment here, because what I was looking at yesterday, and not that it's right, no one should be getting assaulted in prison, but people are like, yeah, but that's jail, that's exactly what happens in jail. Is it more difficult for you guys and for her because she is known?
Look, it's more difficult because she is known, and the type of treatment that she gets, it's a Magudumana treatment.
What is that?
And it cannot be right.
What is a Magudumana treatment?
It's a treatment where every time she goes and lay complaint, she's told you are high profile inmate. We have to do what we are doing. It's so difficult, Anele, that the conditions there are so unbearable that at some point she was in a prison cell with a bedridden inmate who was helpless. She is a medical practitioner by profession. She had to respond to the call and be of assistance to a fellow inmate. Those are the type of conditions that she's subjected to. No preferential treatment is sought here. We are simply saying whatever treatment that she gets, she should equate the treatment that other inmates are subjected to.
So, quick one. Your previous attempts to get her bail have so far failed. Are you going to use this alleged assault as grounds for a future application, perhaps soon?
Look, where we are now is that we have a pending Supreme Court of Appeal challenge for her unlawful deportation into South Africa. So there are legal processes underway to ensure that ultimately she receives or gets justice in the manner that is expected.
All right, we're out of time, but thank you so much for your time, Advocate Machini Motloung. We just wanted to, get a closer look at what is happening in there. The story broke yesterday, and I like allegedly, right?
Yeah, because at the moment there's so much being said, right? So you've got the legal team says she was assaulted. There was an inmate who was mentally unwell, part of the assault. Correctional services says there was no complaint. They don't keep people who are mentally ill in the same cell as everyone. So someone needs to give us a verdict, basically.
Anele and the club
on 947.